ATN newspaper headlines. We bring you today's major headlines, the facts behind them, and what they mean for you. We are open for sponsorship of the program, advert placements, news events coverage, and commercials. You can watch us live on our website www.atlanticnetwork.tv, on Facebook and YouTube, Atlantic Television Network, Avo TV platform, Niger TV, Ifastec TV platform. You can also connect with us on our ATN socials by subscribing, like, and share. Facebook and YouTube, Atlantic Television Network, Instagram and TikTok, Atlantic Network 1, and on X, Atlantic TV Nets. We're going for a short commercial break. When I return, I will introduce my guests for today's newspaper headlines. Welcome back, still on Newspaper Headlines here on Atlantic Television Network. Today I have none other than Dr. Bassi in the studio with me to discuss today's headlines. Good morning, Dr. Bassi. How do you do?
Good morning, Hasabel. I'm okay.
It's actually lovely to have you in the studio finally.
Thank you for having me.
All right, let's get into today's conversation. We're starting with the Punch this morning. The first story on the Punch: Kwara massacre, federal government faces heat as 100 feared dead. 70 victims buried in mass grave. Tinubu deploys troops, according to governor, and then Saraki mourns. Survivors recount ordeal. So far, from what we've heard about this story, some bandits, or should we call them terrorists, came into these communities and tried to preach certain goodwill message, according to them, goodwill message, asking them to do away with the Nigerian constitution and instead embrace Islamic laws. When the people decided not to, do what they said or go contrary to what they said, they later invaded the community, and then hundreds are feared dead. We even saw a mass burial where 75 people were buried. Dr. Bassi, what does this say about our situation here in Nigeria, security situation here in Nigeria? Because it seems like these people are slowly targeting vulnerable communities. And if care is not taken, it will gradually, extend to other parts of the country.
It's unfortunate that this happened to us. If you read the Nigerian Constitution, Section 10, that no religion shall be, seen as a state religion, whether Islamic religion, Christianity, or whatever religion. That is the position of Nigeria's constitution. And so, insecurity, I don't just understand the position of the federal government. When the United States of America struck that 25th of December 2025, and a lot of persons said a whole lot of things, that the reason why they are doing what they are doing is to have access to Nigeria crude oil and things like that. But without looking at the lives that is being wasted on daily or monthly basis in this country as a result of insecurity, then if Nigerians cannot be protected in their territory as a result of insecurity, why do we have the government in the first place? Because the sole responsibility of every government in place is to make sure that lives and properties are protected. And that is the oath the president or the governor sworn, before that he or she occupied that office. But looking at all of this, does it mean that the federal government does not have the political will or the administrative will or the military might to combat these boys? Maybe the next time now you will hear it will be Plateau State. The next one now will be Benue State, and so on and so forth. How long can we continue to live in our own country in fear? How long? Imagine 100 human lives being cut short, being wasted, buried in a mass grave. I mean, Asabel is demeaning, seriously. Well, I do not know, I do not understand the position of especially the Ministry of Defense. When they appointed retired General Mustafa, Christopher Musa, they said, the man is coming with wealth of experience to change narratives of what we used to have in the past. But having occupied this position since last year till date, which is, I'm not sure whether it's up to 3 months or it's about 3 months now, we keep having, issues of insecurities, killing of human beings, sacking of communities, and things like that. If the federal government, that is saddled with the responsibility of protecting lives and properties, do not have the wherewithal to combat this boys, please they should, seek for help elsewhere.
Okay.
We can't continue like this.
All right.
Imagine how will you wake up in the morning, they say your mother is no longer alive, your brother is no longer alive, your sister is no longer alive. How will you feel? Is it because this thing does not affect them directly? Because if their relatives were to lose their lives in this inferno. By now, these menace would have stopped.
All right.
Please, they should do something fast. It's not funny at all. It's not funny.
Okay. Let's move on quickly to the Nigerian Tribune. Senate passes electoral bill, rejects mandatory e-transmission of results. Reduced notice of election from 360 to 180 days. Recommends 5 million naira fine for unlawful possession of PVC. Dr. Bassi, I know you're smiling. You're smiling at this. I think the one that particularly interests a lot of people is the rejection of the mandatory e-transmission of results. Some are saying that we've had the obedience come out to talk. We've seen the former vice president also come out and then condemn this act, saying that they want to use this means to ensure the success of the incumbent party, the incumbent president as well, to ensure that come what's May 2027, he's still going to win. Because why would you say you're not going to allow, when we have the necessary equipment and gadgets needed for electronic voting, you're saying you're not going to allow that. You're going to leave it to the INEC to decide the manner at which they want to transmit the electronic votes. What do you have to say about this, Dr. Bassi?
It means that the legislature, the Nigeria's parliament, wants to legalize forgery and rigging in election. That's exactly what is happening.
I mean, they are leaving it to INEC to decide the means at which they want to conduct the elections. I mean, it's under our constitution.
This is the indirect way of legalizing forgery, rigging in Nigeria's election. You see, they say action speaks louder than words. A technology was introduced in the last election, 2023 general election, called beavers. And Nigerians were so happy, to have had such a technology to be used in an election. And on that, we said, okay, this is what will happen. And a lot of Nigerians troop out to cast their votes and to choose the kind of leader they want. But in the end, they said the beavers wasn't captured in our electoral laws. Imagine that. And so the court said that, look, since that wasn't captured in our electoral laws, that cannot be used as evidence in the court of law to nail anybody. And that technicality was used by the court and enthroned most of them in political offices today. Now, if the people has pushed for an amendment of the Electoral Act, one, to include the uses of beavers in that Electoral Act, because if that is inclusive, it will become a law. People will know that such technology is now inclusive in our electoral laws. But as it stands now, they want to legalize, fraudulent measures in our election processes. And this will be a laughing stock in the international community, seeing the parliamentarians in the Nigerian parliament behaving this way. Imagine, what are the reasons? I went through these stories, in fact, 3 times yesterday. And I've not seen any tangible reasons given for rejecting the transmission of election results. What is the problem? And you are now saying that whatever measures the INEC, will choose, that is the measures. Which means that if they even choose to go back to what happened in the 18th centuries, no problem. If they want to go back to the BC, no problem. If they want to go back to AD, no problem. In this 21st century, in this technological era, in this era that you can sit down in your house and transact business in other parts of the world without going there physically, is it what they want to tell Nigerians? What is wrong with our parliamentarians? What is your problem? Are they truly representative of the people? Let's just face this matter once and for all. It's uncalled for. They were elected by the people, and they're supposed to represent and speak for the people, not for themselves, because what they are doing now is just for themselves. How do they mean by saying that, hey, they are not going to? For what are the reasons? I mean, They said Nigeria is one of the greatest nation in Africa. From what they have done so far, does it project that Nigeria is one of the greatest nations in Africa? Or even in the world? What are they doing? It is clear that they have, in fact, they have succeeded in ensuring that INEC will be a department in the presidency. Because with that, they can say, okay, this is what you need to, and they will do it. That is what is happening.
Okay.
So what would they tell those at the international community that, look, you see, I want to do this? When in America, you can stay in your house just in the next 2, 3, 4, 5 minutes. You can go and vote. And your vote will be counted because it will be shown. It will be transmitted. Even in South Africa, the last election they conducted in South Africa, that was what we did. So other countries are improving electronically, technologically. Ours is that we want to go back to the primitive era. We want to go back to the 1st century. We want to be seen as those persons who are primitive in our thinking. It's very unfortunate as well. It's not worth discussing.
It's
seriously.
quite unfortunate. It is worth discussing. We'll go into it further in the next program. But unfortunately, this is where we wrap it up on this episode of Newspaper Headlines.